Okay, so these are some books that are my favorite that exist as ebooks and audiobooks, either or, sometimes both, in Libby and Media on Demand on our website. So they're ones that you can get during quarantine from your library. But they're not brand new, they're just some of my favorites. Good escapist fiction, getting away, feel good adventure. All right, so sci-fi, kind of my thing, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So if you're not a sci-fi lover, you can either tune out right now or, try something new, okay? ARMADA, Ernest Cline, became really famous from his writing of Ready Player One, which became a movie, of course, and everything. This is along the same lines as that one. So a young man loves playing video games, loves 80s culture, video games, movies, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff, wants to get away from the world, wishes that sci-fi would come to life someday, and one day, while he's in school, sitting in school and staring blankly out a window, it does. And he sees a spaceship fly over that's exactly like the one from the video game that he always plays, this flight simulator or space invader type game. Turns out the game is real, and he's actually fighting off invaders in the game, or training to, like that. And he's recruited because he's one of the best players of this game in the world to go off to this special, secret government installation to fight off the alien invasion. And it's great. And if you get the audiobook, bonus, it's read by Will Wheaton of Star Trek fame, and it's fantastic. He's a great reader, and you want to check that out. You might be familiar with the Discworld series by Sir Terry Pratchett. This is his little branch of the Discworld fantasy world, which was focused more for a YA audience, a younger teen audience. We Free Men. We Free Men are these little Pixies, little blue fairy guys with very, very heavy Scottish accents, very feisty, that run around in the chalk, the high chalk in the Discworld, which resembles an area of England, actually the area of England that Sir Terry Pratchett grew up in, full of sheep and chalky soil. It's a coming-of-age adventure with Tiffany Aching, who is a young witch in training, and it's one of my favorite all-time books. If you like fantasy, if you've heard of Sir Terry Pratchett, he likes to turn fantasy tropes on their head, and very, very much British comedy, very Monty Python-esque, sophisticated social commentary and all that, but incredibly funny and great. And this is one of the best, is it BILDUNGSROMAN? The best coming-of-age type of stories. Young woman finding herself and the way in the world and her place. And so Sir Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman, they kind of go together. They were great friends in real life, both superstars of writing fame. Neverwhere was where I first became familiar with Neil Gaiman. The BBC actually asked Neil Gaiman to write a series about the homeless people of London, highlight that problem, and he came up with this. It's a whole underworld underneath London, using all the subway systems and all the stations, and all these dark fantasy characters, and very epic quest, really highlighting the problems of our society, of the invisible population that exists here too, homeless and destitute. And it's brilliant. But yeah, he actually wrote the book while he was on set of the BBC series, because there was so much of his writing that wasn't able to make it into the show, and he wanted to get it into something, so he wrote the book. And last, certainly not least, John Scalzi, huge superstar in sci-fi now, but this is kind of what got him started, Old Man's War. It's just a quintessential sci-fi space opera, fighting aliens, space marines kind of thing, except the hook is that it's not a young man's war, it's an old man's war. And Earth of the future is trying to recruit soldiers for their enterprising efforts out and expansionist efforts out in space. And instead of recruiting young people, they recruit old people, people that are 73 or 74 or older, to go up. They have life experience, they've already lived a whole long life, and now they have the chance to go off and get off of Earth. They're the only people that are allowed off of Earth, off into the expeditionary forces, and they join these special battalions of very high casualty military expeditionary forces. And I don't want to give away the secret, but it's really feel good, really fast paced, very funny, but also says a lot about war and imperialism, and it is the beginning of a series of books that are all really great. And his imagination, John Scalzi's imagination, is really up there, really on point, and really up front, and it's why he became such a big superstar, is because of this book. So if you like green-skinned aliens that are actually human, you'd really like this. That's a really strange, but yeah, check it out. And that's it. All right, hopefully I didn't lose too many of you. I know I tend to ramble, sorry. In the weeks to come, every Friday, we'll put out one of these. It won't always be books like this. Sometimes it'll be new stuff that's coming out that doesn't exist in Libby or Overdrive yet. Some of them will be nonfiction, some will be fiction. Some of the other librarians are going to chip in here too. So hopefully this was at least moderately entertaining, and yeah, be safe.